Hey, how you doing? I finally found another excuse to do videos on Spider-Man. Weird way to start this out, but the more I've thought about it, the more I realize I think Spider-Man might be my favorite superhero, which is weird to think because my profile picture has Captain America's shield on it, and he would be like number two or three favorite superhero. So that's weird, but yeah. We're doing another CinemaWins reaction. This time on the Spider-Man, the first movie from 2002. I want to do all the Spider-Man movies, so that's gonna be fun. Yeah. So without all that in mind, let's get this over with. Do, do, do. I love that music, man. Danny Elfman's the goat.
I can't be the only one that's immediately transported back to 2002 with this amazing Danny Elfman score that belongs to the best superhero film to date, right? Some Spider-Man
Best superhero from the day. I mean, he made this video in 2017, so who knows if he still thinks that, but yeah.
style opening credits for sure.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe is always a win. Also, how similar looking are these two? James DeFranco.
I guess I could see it. Sure.
You know,
I'm something of a scientist myself.
Dude was born to play a Spider-Man villain.
hope to see you again.
Hope to impale you on my glider someday.
Wink, wink.
Most advanced electron microscope on the eastern seaboard.
Eastern Seaboard lessons?
Has the ability to jump to catch its prey.
And is trained to jump on command.
Till its
I gotta look that up, actually. I don't know. Could spiders actually do that? Or were these ones specifically were like put in a lab? So I don't know why I asked. But yeah, I guess that's the whole reason why Peter gets his power, because a radioactive spider bit him. We all know the story. We've seen it 3 times on the big screen, so yeah.
Adidae, genus Cuculcania. It spins an
Man, these girls are almost as easy to entertain as me. But that's a totally realistic reaction from giggly teenage girls. Would
Yeah.
you believe that Flash, Brad Bros Brunch Thompson, is 1 year younger than Tobey Maguire? Yeah, me either. But he was 26 and Tobey was 27. Tobey could play Peter Parker into his 60s.
Kind of funny how I remember this kind of funny criticism that these teenagers they're all so much older than they should be. Toby was 27? Wow. Like, I mean, he honestly sells being not as good as a teenager as Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland really nailed that teenager vibe, but Toby did the second best, I would say. Yeah.
Spiders change colors to blend into their environment.
Spider-Man shadowing. I mean, that's what it is.
Yep.
A lot of this movie is like an early 2000s cliche checklist.
a spider sense.
But amongst the eye-rolly stuff, there are multiple story and world-building things going on. We're getting to know Peter and Harry's friendship, establishing the stereotypical bad guy jocks, setting up Peter's photography skills / nerdiness / love for MJ, and foreshadowing 3 of Spider-Man's main powers: strong webs, crazy jumps, and Spidey sense.
Yep. Honestly, just the fact that she's a Spidey sense like that, it just makes me think, man. I'm just so glad this movie is like, it's not subtle at all. It's just a straight up cheesy comic book movie, and it embraces that. Because this came out like a year after that first X-Men movie where they like dressed up the X-Men in all black. It was afraid to be all silly, but this one's like, no, comics are silly. We're gonna embrace that. Like it's something I really liked about the Raimi movies.
You look ugly.
That's impossible.
Compliments. Also, Gwen Stacy isn't in this film, but her outfit colors are.
Oh yeah.
I mean, nope, but also worth it? Because Spider-Man?
Yep.
I get what the blue and red rung pairs are for, but does he have some green goblin in there too?
Pair pre. Sorry, I was trying to read the green. Does that say precognition? Okay, sorry. It's it's hard to read through the screen for some reason. Okay. Web. I can't read that top one. Web tense strength. I'm sorry if I'm reading that wrong. Spider strength. I can read that. Jumping speed. Spider sense. Precognition speed. Is that 2 that say speed? And then combine. I'm not. Okay, I'm giving up. Sorry.
Why, yes he is.
New
This
species.
explains a lot. George must have lost his job after a miraculous thrown-through plate glass accident recovery and now works in Pawnee local government. I'm sorry, I can't help it. This is just how my brain works. Actors are only the characters from whatever I like them in most. Remember this guy? Leslie's mom set her up on a date. Yeah.
I don't know what he's referencing, but I mean, I get it. I mean, for me, Tom Hanks, I've seen him in other stuff. I've seen him in Forrest Gump, Castaway, and stuff. But for me, he'll always be Woody. Like, I grew up listening to his voice as Woody, so he's always Woody in my head. So, yeah.
Soft growing watts of it.
In another decade or so, when LED bulbs are all that's available, we'll look back to this scene as a historical record of the energy-wasting incandescent bulb.
You're the most responsible man I've ever known.
And you know what they say, with great responsibility comes great job opportunities?
Sure.
You wanna have a bite?
No thanks. Had a bite.
Back when it was okay to have your heroes punted up. Goes to show.
Oh my... Have a bite. Because he was... Oh my gosh. How? I've seen this movie so many times, and I never noticed that pun. Holy cow, I feel so stupid. Wow. That's amazing. How did I never notice that before?
Before you understand how movies are actually made and realize there's no way the filmmakers told Toby to lose so much weight as to look malnourished for one scene when the rest of the movie is so physically demanding, you just sort of take it for granted that this was real. Point is, it's pretty believable CGI.
Yeah.
Goodbye boring human DNA, hello Spy DNA.
Back to formula.
Never forgets. I would say Willem Dafoe doesn't even care, but does he ever?
No, he
How
doesn't.
poetic is it the villain and hero were created on the same night?
Yeah.
He's no Cap, and I do remember thinking he looked way more ripped the first time I saw this, but Tobey Maguire's workout routine. I also love
Sure.
his meh, go with the flow response.
Okay.
Ha! Never noticed his bite mark with the blood poisoning track mark still there the next day. Great attention to detail.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah, the tray. Yeah.
Great reflexes.
Reflex.
I mean, what she said. Also, that was 156 practical takes. Impressive.
Yeah. Just, it's like filmmaking is hard, man. I mean, I've never made a movie before, but whenever I think about it, I'm like, man, it would be cool to make a movie. And then I think about it, I'm like, wait, no, it's actually really hard, isn't it? How many? 156 takes to get that. Like, holy cow.
Appropriate reaction. I can remember that feeling in high school when your whole world revolves around a crush and you can't even put a thank you together. Toby nails it. So the organic web slingers are gross and not comic accurate.
Okay, I guess there's something to address there too. The fact that his web slinging is not, is not artificial. I know it's not comic accurate. I'm technically not a comic guy. I haven't read much, so what is my opinion on that? For me, I just don't mind it. I mean, the fact that it's a multiverse now, that all these Spider-Mans we've seen on the big screen canonically exist in the same multiverse, for me, that just makes me think, okay, of course there would be a Spider-Man that just happens to have organic webbing, Oh, I know some comic fans were upset about that. I get it. I mean, it personally just never bothered me. I was just kind of like, yeah, sure, I guess there was one that should exist. And again, it's a multiverse. Of course, there would be a Spider-Man with organic webbing. So, yeah.
Interestingly, just like Wolverine's original claws were part of his gloves. I get why both were made organic parts of the characters for the movies.
Was that part? I didn't know that for Wolverine. Okay.
One less thing to explain, and honestly, it makes them more special. And man, does it lead to one of the best scenes. Peter's first fight using Spidey sense. Man, I love that slow-mo down.
Yeah.
Flash.
Wouldn't want to fight me neither.
Also, honesty. When I was younger, it annoyed me that we didn't get a typical 80s teen reaction to Pete winning. Some people cheer, but not MJ. As an adult, I understand and appreciate the need for Peter to learn restraint.
Yeah.
MJ's slightly freaked out look is probably more realistic than had she started immediately making out with Peter for freeing her from her tyrannical boyfriend.
That's fair.
Barb?
Yeah. That's yeah, too, because Flash was her boyfriend for a bit.
Shadowing? Yeah. Wait, the barbs are facing the wrong direction. Oh, the thrill. Again, making this a practical set pulls you right in, and the horn accentuating each of his movements.
Mm-hmm. Just love how excited he
Peter's responses to
gets.
his newfound powers is exactly how every high school kid would react.
Yeah, that
Not as cool
bit
and
dated
suave as
CGI,
Spider-Man
but
is. Yeah, I can fly. But this would be me for sure.
yeah, CGI looks pretty dated by today's standards, but sure. When did YouTube start with 2 ads?
Frank?
Like, seriously.
The deal
What for me?
For you?
Gonna light up Broadway.
A sincere moment between Peter and MJ that makes you see her through his eyes while also telling us through the look on her face that he's the first person to ever say such encouraging things to her.
You're taller than you look.
Yeah. I hunch.
And out of all these changes to Peter that are only because of his confidence boost, he's probably not actually taller. You can't just steal Stingray's costume. Even with superpowers, he doesn't always think everything through.
Yeah, like, what was your plan there, buddy?
This article is about exactly what it says it is. But
Oh, that's a thing CinemaWins always does. They always point out, go to newspapers and talk and like criticize them for not. Yeah, that's a nice one, Lee.
who's really surprised when J. Jonah Jameson is running it?
Yeah,
He did literally sacrifice.
that he has risen to prominence by sacrificing those who have been loyal to him. Yeah,
Some.
literally, yeah.
Power comes great responsibility.
It's a line that has to be in there, but Cliff Robertson delivers it expertly. Beautiful beard win on Macho Man Randy Savage.
Bruce Campbell.
Living up to your name.
The human spider.
The human spider, that's it? That's the best you got?
Amazing Spider-Man!
Goes to show when Ash gives you a name, you stick with it.
Yep. And Peter never gives him credit.
One of the main things that makes this movie so fun is Peter's genuine joy in finding his way as Spider-Man. Totally relatable as wish fulfillment. Some scenes just stick with you. I don't know if it's the relatively decent 2002 CGI, or the heightened revenge excitement, or the absolute desperation you can feel in Peter's exertion and jarring camera movements, or how he throws caution to the wind with his first successful web slinging. But Peter chasing down his uncle's killer with such personal ramification is just a classic and memorable moment.
Yeah. His first web slinging. Heck yeah.
And this really is fantastic. Totally captures the thrill of swinging from buildings.
Yeah, it does.
So creepy. So it's like Ed 209 mixed with a crappy Iron Man suit? Where's Justin Hammer? Is he watching this demonstration via Skype?
I know this has been a difficult.
Harry in the background, man.
Thanks for reminding me my uncle was dead. What are you, some kind of villain?
You know what? Whatever. You're the boss.
Well, he's not totally wrong. Have you seen Alcide Wide as a Door after high school?
That still boggles my mind. That actor who's Flash, he goes on to play Deathstroke very briefly at the end of Justice League. Like, that's just weird to think about.
You gotta love these cliche robbers in black beanies and classic comic robber attire.
Yeah, very cheesy.
Sounds hot.
You would think that, Xena. Wait, what the heck? That really is Lucy Lawless? And of course, the people slowly learning about Spider-Man through news media coverage and eyewitness accounting's montage is the fastest way to get a new super high-tech suit.
Like, yeah. Hold on, I want to get a...
News media coverage and eyewitness accounting's montage is the fastest way to get a new super...
Yeah, just want to put a freeze frame over that suit. I love that suit, yeah. It's not my favorite Spider-Man suit, but it is pretty good. Really iconic. Really cool seeing him wear it again when he came back in No Way Home. So, yeah.
high-tech suit.
Jameson is a page 6 problem.
We have a page 1 problem. Shut up.
Allow me to introduce you to the most accurate, best casting of any character in a comic book ever, period. At least until we see him as Gordon. J.K. Simmons is always a win.
And the fact that they brought him back for the MCU, and you can even hear his voice in Across the Spider-Verse, proves, yeah, he really is the best actor ever to play this character. Yep. Like, the only other time I could think of is, like, Hugh Jackman. Like, no one else has played him. Well, except, I guess, Henry Cavill has played him briefly. But, yeah, other than that.
We sold out 4 printings. Sold out?
And bearing the lead on the sold-out papers to give us more time with J. Jonah is a definite win.
Correct.
Really important clients, they can't wait.
They're about to.
Seriously.
The problem is we don't have a decent picture. Eddie's been on it for weeks.
Yeah, well, that's because he's not Venom yet.
That doesn't really make sense, though, because doesn't Eddie not join the Daily Bugle until the 3rd film? Or he's probably talking about a different Eddie. It's probably what it is, yeah.
I was late for work and Dr. Connors fired me.
This makes me sad. They were setting up Dr. Connors to become the Lizard in the first movie. Toby, there's still time for Spider-Man 4. Your back will heal. I'm in if you are, buddy. I'm in if you are.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, he does fight a version of Lizard in No Way Home. I'm remembering now that moment when he's swinging and Lizard, like, grabs onto his leg, yeah. So he did fight Lizard at some point, just not the version in this universe. So there's a silver lining there.
I was thinking of something in photography.
Photography? I think you're missing your calling as a comic artist.
Oh, yeah.
Elizabeth Banks. Am I the only one who remembers this character being played by Parker Posey? Or Evangeline Lilly? What do you mean, how's that a win? because she's so good I didn't recognize her. She made me think she was somebody else.
I mean, that's a win.
Parker Posey's great. I'm not
I mean, I get it.
sure what dates this film more, Macy Gray, singular, or hey, Suntory whiskey. For relaxing times, make it Suntory time.
I mean, I wouldn't know because I was literally born the same year this movie came out. So, yeah. Stan Lee!
Whoa, quickest Stan Lee cameo ever.
Yep.
Even if the kid's internal organs were all unfortunately left behind to be crushed by the balloon, Spider-Man still saved him. See, that's how you save someone without killing them. It's all about the bounce.
And also, oh, just the way Andrew Garfield saves MJ in No Way Home. But yeah.
Yeah, hear that? The sound of his footsteps in the windows? Details.
Oh, yeah.
Performance enhancers. Bingo.
To be fair, Defoe doesn't need performance enhancers. See what I mean about not caring? How about this Jekyll and Hyde personality switching?
Green Goblin, you like that?
Mr. Jameson.
Made it up myself. These weirdos all gotta have a name now.
See that? J. Jonah Jameson takes the advent of superheroes and villains in stride.
That's slander.
It is not.
I resent that. Slander spoken.
In print, it's libel.
Vocab lesson. The fact that they used a stunt double here, which I'm totally cool with, don't hurt a hair on JK's head, alerts me to the fact that this is a practical explosion. Props for that.
I could not tell that was a stunt double.
The pictures of Spider-Man!
I don't know who he is. His stuff comes in the mail.
You're lying!
I swear.
Discretion. We get a little depth beyond the money-grubbing J. Jonah. You'd think he'd be the type to sell his own grandmother for a headline, but he sticks up for Peter. Although, if Goblin kills Peter, no more pictures of Spider-Man.
I think I like that better. I just really don't think JJ gives a crap about Peter. You know, just the way he talks to him. I like that better. Yeah.
Could destroy, cause the deaths of countless innocents in selfish battle again and again and again until we're both dead.
Compelling argument, really. I like that Norman's manipulative genius is still in there.
Hold on. Is this the first time in the video we got to see Goblin's suit? Yeah, I guess I kind of want to talk about it just because, yeah, this suit has been mocked for looking like a Power Rangers costume, and I get it. Yeah, but for me, it's just one of those costumes I just kind of like. I just don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because this is a cheesy and campy world that I think this suit just works for me. I don't know. I personally always liked it. I was like bummed in No Way Home when he like breaks the helmet, but I get it. I understood why, but I personally really like this suit. But I get why it's mocked. But yeah.
No amount of knowing that Toby couldn't breathe and Kirsten just about froze to death and could barely keep her eyes open from splashing water could ruin such an iconic cinema moment.
Yeah, agreed.
Your jump scare root show.
Like a moth to the flame.
Or like a Spider-Man to a flame? This slow motion scene is
Oh,
probably the
man.
most beautiful scene in the film. The vibrant orange and yellow of the fire contrasted with the red and blue Spider-Man suit, amazingly lit, absolutely jaw-dropping, like a video game come to life.
I'm sorry, Blake.
Work was murder.
And now the creepy goblin personality is starting to emerge and take Norman over completely.
Yep.
Norman?
I mean,
Why would you
it's
do
weird
that?
to slap an adult's hand, it's weird to stick your fingers in the food, it's all weird. But I believe Goblin's inhibitions would be different from Norman's, so it's right in line.
Creep.
Funny story. The first time I saw this movie, it was actually on Thanksgiving Day. That is not a joke. So when this scene came up, it was like they were having Thanksgiving dinner. I was like, holy cow, the stars aligned. Like, I was watching it on this. That is insane coincidence. I had no idea this movie had a Thanksgiving scene. I just happened to watch it on that day. Like, it's just that. It's amazing. It's kind of funny how things work out.
Is my father. All right, if I'm lucky, I'll become half of what he is.
You will, and your face will also be half of what it was. So, lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind.
The heart, Osborn.
Eloquent.
First, we attack his heart.
You ain't got nothing on Green Goblin.
He has
Is anybody getting annoyed with me quoting this movie? I'm wondering because I don't know. I can't help it. You know, I've seen this movie so many times by now.
asked me what I thought about you.
For geeky Peter, this is a pretty big spin on the typical cliche. Usually the alter ego would report what the hero said and then immediately regret making him look so good. Instead, he goes for it.
There's no one Peter cares for more.
And that's why it's so messed up for me to date her. No? I will say, it's perfectly in line with Harry's personality and issues he has with his father. He's been watching his father fawn over Peter since he met him, so of course he's going to try to take back some semblance of control, even if it's the thing that matters most to Peter.
All this time with me, you're not Superman, you know.
Well, he thought he might be.
Up and away with!
I mean, he even tries to fly.
Now, shoot!
Love his choices reflected in his eyes.
Yep. And apparently that's a homage to the night Gwen Stacy died, so that's pretty cool.
Saving everybody.
Yeah.
Multiple times. This is really brilliant.
Oh.
And it sort of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it's great to show that Spider-Man is not invincible and gives his victory that much more punch.
Oh man, just every time I watch that, it's like, oh, it's so hard to watch, you know, just seeing him get beat up so badly.
Jay and I, we're gonna have a hell of a time.
Wouldn't be a comic book movie without a monologuing villain threatening the hero's loved ones to spike an adrenaline rush. We've all heard of the mother lifting the car off her baby, and she was just a human against a car villain.
Oh.
Even in death, Willem Dafoe lives the day.
Who makes me feel like I'm more than I ever thought I could be.
What a great love story that actually has built this relationship up over the course of the movie. Peter did actually believe in her on multiple occasions and shows her how much he cares. And I really love that MJ falls for Peter and not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I will always be your friend.
I remember being so upset about this. But it is totally the right move.
Yep.
No question about it. Teenage me just couldn't handle the idea of them not being together.
Yep. That's the tragic thing about Peter. He just can't be with anybody because they always got to be in danger. Yep. MJ gets captured in literally all 3 movies. MJ gets captured and Peter has to save her. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah. Like, and you wonder why he can't date her. Yeah.
And one more amazing showcase of how well they captured the feeling of slinging around the city. You can almost feel it in your stomach. Marvel Studios' MCU was still a twinkle in Kevin Feige's eye, and Marvel the comic book company was still selling its soul to Fox and Sony. So this was a time before huge cinematic universes. I know Spider-Man 2
WTC?
sold to Fox and Sony. So this was a time before huge cinematic universes. I know
Oh, are you referring to the Twin Towers? Sorry, I don't know what. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I know that was the whole thing. There was a whole sequence of the Twin Towers that got cut, but then 9/11 happened. So I think that's what he's referring to, but yeah.
Spider-Man 2 will probably go down as the best of the trilogy, possibly the best Spider-Man movie ever, depending on Homecoming.
It's my favorite. Well, I can't wait to get to that one.
But I really love this film.
Me too,
I
yeah.
I do too, but I'm just a sucker for an origin story.
I mean,
This
I am
one
too.
formed the mold in a lot of ways. Up until this time, superhero/comic book movies sort of plopped you in the middle of the story. Keaton Bat was already Batmaning, Stallone was judging, and Snipes was already blading. Even the origin stories we did get, like Superman and X-Men, were sort of brief.
I mean, Superman, that first Christopher Reeve movie was very detailed. I feel like it did have a lot of time on Krypton, and then a lot of time with him with the Kent family, and then a lot of time with him finding the Fortress of Solitude. So not entirely agree with that, but yeah, Spider-Man, I feel like, was the second origin story movie that came out that was like really in depth with the origin, like made it. Well, actually, no. This one was more believable that this origin was actually happening in Superman. Is that a hot take? I'm not sure.
I'm sure someone will contest this.
Yeah, probably.
But for me, Spider-Man was the first origin story that really engaged me and made becoming Spider-Man seem possible. And getting to know Peter Parker as just Peter Parker for almost half the movie goes a long way in endearing us to Spider-Man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that in a lot of ways, Raimi's first Spider-Man is the reason we're all at origin story fatigue. We showed that we loved it, so we keep getting it. Spider-Man was a cultural phenomenon at the time. So much so that all that Vincent Chase needed for success was for Aquaman to beat Spidey at the box office opening weekend. Because Spidey broke the opening weekend record with almost 115 million.
That's
only
crazy.
film even close to that at the time was the first Harry Potter with 90 million. And then it took 5 years for a comic book movie to break that record, and it was Spider-Man 3. To this day, with one exception, the top 50 grossing opening weekend films are comic book movies, book adaptations, or sequels/reboots of existing franchises.
Right.
Oh man, and 6 out of the top 10 are owned by Disney. Tyler Durden was wrong. It's not going to be playing at Starbucks. I'm getting off track here, but do you understand what I'm getting at? Do I understand what I'm getting at?
I think I
Yes,
do.
This is what makes money right now. Wondering why you can't get your original screenplay greenlit? You know, the one about an ordinary guy in his 30s dealing with relationship stuff and then moving to Italy? Or clone sisters uncovering the mystery of their inception? Or a cult that claims it's not a cult, but really it is a cult, and you want Jesse Pinkman because he's just awesome. Look no further than Box Office Mojo's leaderboards.
Yep.
That's why so much of that original amazing content ends up on cable, Netflix, Hulu, and HBO. All that to say, finally got there, Spider-Man started it. It was
Good to
the
know.
first movie to break $100 million opening weekend.
I did hear about that.
In 2002, and we've been basking in superhero cinema glory ever since. At some point, some of you already may be there, will be cursing Sam Raimi's name for changing the climate for the never-ending onslaught of interconnected comic book universes.
I mean, I feel like people are nowadays, like the MCU has definitely been getting a lot more hate than it has been, which, I mean, I personally don't think it's that bad. I've enjoyed a lot of the movies, but I mean, I'll acknowledge they're not as well connected as they should be, but that's a different discussion.
But you can't blame him for this masterpiece.
Nope.
The underlying metaphor of Spider-Man being a story about growing up, puberty, and dealing with changes to your body really comes to life in this film.
Maybe he's too embarrassed to tell me what it is. Maybe I'm too embarrassed to ask him.
Not so in your face that you roll your eyes, but it's there.
Parker, you are a freak.
Peter's such an everyman, every kid hero. He makes mistakes that cost him, and then he learns from those mistakes. The forming of Peter into a hero is so impactful in this origin. His first real test of his power only comes about because of his uncle's murder, and after a successful first outing, he's still left with sorrow and regret. It's no wonder the great power, great responsibility speech sticks with him, since he feels as though he failed his first responsibility. We all look back on this trilogy, well, most of it, as a masterpiece, which it is.
Yeah, I mean, I like the third one too, but it's definitely flawed. We'll talk more about that when we get to that one.
But there are some moments ripped right from the cheesiest pages of the comic book. Raimi
That's one of those, that's so cheesy, I love it kind of lines.
He managed to blend the campy and ridiculous with the captivating and realistic. I mentioned things like the stereotypical criminals and Defoe's over-the-top goblin, and they really are positives because it plants this film in a fantasy world New York City, but Raimi still keeps it relatable through characters and a gritty conclusion. The action takes a while to get going, but it's traded for some great character and relationship building and storytelling.
That might be my favorite thing of the Spider-Man movies, honestly. Like, pretty much all the Spider-Man movies do this maybe not all of them, but most of them do this really well. Oh, they really focus so much on the character development. Like, these characters feel down to earth, and they're so compelling. And the fact that it takes a while for the action to get going never bothers me. Like, just thinking about Across the Spider-Verse, that movie takes a while before Miles finally gets to the multiverse stuff, but it doesn't bother me because the down to earth character development, like all the drama is going on with him and his parents and Gwen, are so fascinating. Yeah.
The fact that I was upset about Peter denying MJ is a testament to how well his love for her is sold. And really, the more I think about it, it was the perfect arc for Peter.
Yep.
He started the movie completely driven by his love for MJ. It's the only reason he enters into the wrestling contest in the first place, to buy a car. We know how that turned out. By the end, he finally realizes what his responsibility to MJ actually is. And right now, that's to protect her and use his powers for good. And Toby was a large part of that. His baby face, constant deer in the headlights look makes you feel for him. Contrast that with snarling, mustache-twirling Defoe, and you make for such an entertaining dynamic. And Defoe pushed to get the role.
That's
Raimi
cool.
didn't actually want him initially, but finally caved. And a lot of that comes through in his performance, especially given that the majority of the time it's actually Defoe in the suit, because he didn't think a stuntman could convey the correct menace.
I just love hearing that. The fact that hearing the actors are really passionate about their roles and they really want to get it right. You just love hearing that, you know?
Kirsten Dunst will probably always be my iconic MJ no matter who gets cast going forward. The steps their
I mean, I like Zendaya, but yeah, Kirsten Dunst is really good too.
relationship takes going forward really cemented her.
I'm thinking about it because I know MJ in these movies has got a lot of complaints for just being a damsel in distress, and I get it. I personally found her, decently charming and all, but yeah, I think I might prefer Gwen in the Mark Webb movie, in the Andrew Garfield movies, but yeah.
I don't think I need to say anything else about J.K. Simmons. He stole every scene he was in.
I mean, yeah, everybody's said it, but yeah, he's awesome.
This is still one of the best comic book movies ever made, and for the most part stands the test of time.
It's definitely one of my favorites.
Next
It's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah.
week because I don't have the Blu-ray yet. So instead, here's a picture of my dog. Because she's real cute. You can guess her weight if you'd like.
All right. 121.
You guys want to be famous?
I'll make him infamous.
me. It's the best I can do. Get out of here. Get out of here!
And that was my reaction to CinemaWins' Spider-Man video. Yep, still one of my favorite comic book movies ever. It's still a great movie. Still a pretty good video from him pointing out what makes it really good. And I cannot wait to get to Spider-Man 2 because I've made it clear that that is my personal favorite comic book movie. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. This first movie is still really good. And that'll be all for now. So peace.